Details this morning in the sex trafficking case against Sean Diddy Combs. Prosecutors now claiming that from behind bars, Combs has been trying to reach out to victims and possible witnesses. And ABC's Phil Lipoff is here now with this story. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning, Gio. Diddy's lawyers trying for a third time to get him out on bail, but this time, the prosecution telling the judge about attempts they say the rap mogul made from behind bars to influence everyone from potential jury to alleged victims.
Who's the boss? Dudes is lost. Don't think cause I'm iced out, I'ma cool off.
This morning, prosecutors leveling new accusations against Sean Diddy Combs, saying he poses a serious
like they're M&Ms to these inmates to try to get them to cope with what's going on. So his entire existence is to sit in this little cell, essentially. He can shower 3 times a week. He's not getting any real visits if his lawyer does a legal visit.
Recent reports from former prison guards, inmates, and even deputy wardens at the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, in New York City are revealing disturbing details about Diddy's time behind bars. Allegedly, the music mogul is refusing to leave his special housing unit, SHU, fearing for his safety as he believes other inmates may be targeting him. Tony T-Bone Caruso, a former inmate with 12 years behind bars, has first-hand knowledge of the dangers within the MDC. Now on the outside, he's been in contact with some of his former prison associates and offered insights into Diddy's struggle. "It's a tough place," Caruso said, "and the rumors I've been hearing? It's not a surprise. Guys like Diddy, they don't survive long if they get mixed with the wrong crowd." He elaborated, stating that MDC is filled with some of the most dangerous...
Put some bars of soap in a sock and boom, they're going to pop him over the head and split his head open like a watermelon. They cannot GP him at all. There's a better chance of Jesus appearing in front of us right now than him making general population. He's safe where he is at. There's no reason to move him. And this nonsense about him getting bail, they're never going to give him bail. He wants to go to Essex County, New Jersey, to go to a cushy jail there. Remember, he's not a federal inmate. He's a U.S. Marshal detainee. So they just house him at MDC. And in order to send him to Jersey, they would have to transport him back and forth several times a week with like 6 marshals. They put him in one car, and there'd be a car behind him and a car in front of him. They're not going to do that. So his life essentially at this point is just screwed.
Individuals in the country, including gang members and notorious criminals who view an inmate like Diddy as a potential target for making a name for themselves. Diddy, reportedly, is struggling with isolation and anxiety and is currently on suicide watch, where inmates are often given medication to cope. "He's probably got anxiety," Caruso said. "That's what they put you on suicide watch for, to keep you from losing it." Deputy Warden Marcus Young, who worked in MDC for over a decade, also spoke out, shedding light on the internal politics and the precarious situation Diddy finds himself in. Diddy's name alone will make him a target. "If you've been locked up long enough, you know that's how it works," Young explained. But it's not just that. There's power in the name, in the reputation. And Diddy has both. A lot of these guys, they're in for life, but some of them see Diddy as a stepping stone. They want to make their name by taking down a celebrity. According to Young, the MDC staff has had to take...
It is not getting good reviews. I mean, not that it should, but, you know, there should be basic human rights. And this place has faced intense scrutiny amid a spat of vicious inmates, you know, going after each other badly, complaints about dismal living conditions, including maggot-infested food, filthy cells, power outages. Apparently they go weeks without any sort of heat, which is, you know, not good, especially as the cold rears its head. These apparent conditions were brought to the spotlight during the trial of Maxwell. You know, I can't say the full thing.
Extra precautions to ensure Diddy's safety. But even then, there are limits. "We can only do so much," he added. "There are too many eyes watching him, waiting for the right moment. If we put him with the general population, he wouldn't last 24 hours. Ava M. Lewis, one of Diddy's top defense lawyers, is in a race against time. As Diddy continues to sit in solitary confinement, she's been working tirelessly to get him out on bail. "This is a man who has built an empire, who has done more for the culture than most people realize," she said, her voice firm. To allow him to be treated like this is nothing short of cruel. We're requesting a transfer to a facility that offers better living conditions and will ensure his safety.
You know, the notorious Madame of Jeffy, when her attorney ripped the facility for the reprehensible and utterly inappropriate facilities. She complained about using the bathroom, which was an open sewer drain, rats running around, rotten maggot-infested food, freezing temperatures for roughly a week when an electrical fire caused all the light and heatings to go out in the building. Apparently, violence-plagued federal lockup made headlines when it was hit with the claims that the staff had allegedly covered up a knifing at one point.
But that's not an easy ask. Lewis revealed that Diddy's team is also attempting to secure his release on bail, which could be influenced by his ongoing mental and physical health concerns. It's clear that his health is deteriorating, she said. The constant pressure, the isolation, the lack of resources. It's wearing him down. Meanwhile, an insider who claims to have worked closely with Diddy during his brief time in MDC stated that the mogul's visitor logs have been under intense scrutiny.
You know, no jail or prison is expected to be a five-star hotel. We know that. But it's not supposed to be a house of horrors either.
Yeah, the troubled and violent Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn housing Sean Diddy Combs raided by the feds today. They're investigating poor conditions, rampant drug smuggling, mounting violence, and repeated inmate deaths.
Eyewitness News reporter Darla Miles live at the scene in Sunset Park with what's really going on. Darla.
Well, Bill, the Bureau of Prisons will only say this is an interagency operation to maintain a safe environment. But sources tell ABC News that inmates are not the target, and attorneys who've been seeing clients here for years say the timing is very curious.
Diddy doesn't get many visits, but when he does, there's a lot of secrecy surrounding it, the insider said, speaking on condition of anonymity. Sometimes it's his lawyer, other times it's associates. But those visits are getting more, and more under the radar. The mystery behind these visits deepens with the news that a high-profile individual was seen entering the facility under a pseudonym, but no official statements have been made. Could this be another celebrity trying to intervene in Diddy's case? Or perhaps someone attempting to steer his defense from behind the scenes? The speculation continues to swirl.
Several inmates came from behind him to also attack him.
The corrections officer then had to run the gauntlet to get through that group of inmates, all of whom were throwing punches.
They wanted to assault an officer that day.
Officer Downing managed to escape with just some minor injuries, including some bruising to his face.
Officer Jim Carter, a long-serving prison guard at MDC, spoke about the tension inside the facility. Prison life is all about power and survival. Diddy may have money and fame, but in here, that doesn't matter. The rules are different. If you're not careful, you end up as a target. Carter went on to explain how high-profile inmates often form alliances with other prisoners, either for protection or for influence, and he suggested that Diddy may have been approached for such an alliance. But you've got to watch who you trust, he warned. Some of these guys are just looking for their moment in the spotlight.
Why does he get the cover of darkness? Why does he get taken out because he needs an aspirin? Help me, Dr. Hendricks.
Well, I'll tell you, each inmate gets a physical within 14 days of their arrival in any facility. And I'm sure, based on reports of him having several knee surgeries throughout the years after being a marathoner back in 2003. So this may have been in the works in terms of getting him out for an MRI, because I know that we don't have that equipment at the institution. And I'll just tell you this, they probably had set this appointment up months, maybe weeks ago, and they set it up for the evening.
To leave at 1 a.m. in the cover of darkness. Okay, you think that's what they set up, Hendricks? Look, I know you're being loyal to MDC, but can we get real?
Carter noted that the facility is rife with corruption, from guards turning a blind eye to illegal activities to prisoners leveraging their clout for special privileges. We all know what happens when the system fails, Carter added, but it's all about surviving in the system. Maxine L. Rivera, an investigative journalist covering high-profile criminal cases, has been following Diddy's legal battles closely. There's a lot more happening in this case than just a high-profile mogul behind bars, Rivera explained. There are allegations of witness tampering, a questionable hospital visit, and the sudden drop of an important case. There's a lot to unpack.
Leaving MDC Because your knee hurts? Have you seen that POC?
MRIs and x-rays and things of that nature. They're on a normal work schedule, between, the normal business hours of maybe 10 o'clock and maybe 6 p.m. So in that case, this was a little bit different, getting him outside the facility in the late evening hours to do just, possibly a basic MRI.
Yeah, I was thinking about the timeline too, because I don't ever recall going to the doctor at 10 p.m. at night. As you said, it's usually 9 to 5, 10 to 6 kind of vibes. But for P. Diddy, I can kind of understand why it was at 10 p.m.
But one thing that's clear is that Diddy's situation is just as dangerous as it is high stakes. Rivera believes the circumstances surrounding Diddy's hospital visit are suspicious. He was taken out of the facility at night, which is strange, Rivera added. It doesn't make sense unless they're trying to get him out of the spotlight temporarily, or maybe it's part of a larger plan. Either way, there's more going on here than we're being told.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm thinking they decided to do this because he's such a high-profile name that they wouldn't want to draw attention to it. I mean, this is an unassuming Thursday night around 10 p.m. Could that be why they decided then to go to the hospital?
Yes, and also, for a couple of reasons, staff, many correctional agencies are short-staffed. So you're taking someone out with this high-profile person such as P. Diddy. Just the nature of who he is going to cause a serious security concern, because you're going to need to be able to.
Diddy's legal team is pulling out all the stops, including attempts to use the system against itself. One source revealed that the defense is considering filing motions based on the prison's unsanitary and inhumane conditions. We have evidence that the prison has violated basic human rights, the source said. There are reports of unsanitary conditions, maggot-infested food, and even freezing cells. This could be the leverage they need to move Diddy out of MDC and into a more secure, less hazardous facility.
So this jail's conditions, have been described as dirty, notorious for mice, maggots, inmate violence, power outages. You spent 10 years in 11 different facilities, so you know what life is like for him right now. Take us behind the scenes.
I was also at MDC Los Angeles. It's like a cookie cutter of the MDC in New York. So yeah, I do know. But he's sitting in the shoe. He's in the hole. And this guy is going through loneliness, anxiety, desperation. He's on suicide watch, and they hand out like psych meds.
Diddy's team is also hoping that a change in venue might open new doors for his defense. We're exploring options with other facilities that have better accommodations and are more suited for someone like Diddy, Ava M. Lewis explained. Our goal is to ensure his safety and well-being, but also to maintain the integrity of his case. DeAndre Big D Evans, a former member of the notorious Bloods gang, was incarcerated at MDC for over 5 years before his release. Speaking from the perspective of someone who's seen it all, Evans said, "When a guy like Diddy comes in, it changes the dynamic. Not everyone's a fan, and some see him as a way to climb the ranks." Evans described the unspoken hierarchy within the prison system and how newcomers, especially high-profile ones, often become pawns in a dangerous game of politics.
We made a bail appeal to Judge Carter. It did not go our way. The fight continues. We're not giving up by a long shot. I told Mr. Combs I'm going to try and get his case to trial as quickly as possible. I'm going to try and minimize the amount of time he spends in very, very difficult and I believe inhumane housing conditions in the special housing unit of the Metropolitan Detention Facility. And I'm going to do everything that I can to move his case as quickly as possible. I understand that the government has a great amount of electronic devices that they have to download and provide to me. But everything's on the government's timetable, nothing's on the defendant's timetable, and they're going to have to accommodate me and him and give us a quick trial, and I'm going to be pushing for that. He's ready, he's focused. He has been ready to defend this case since he first found out about this case. Nothing has changed from his perspective. I obviously would much prefer to fight this case with him out of jail, and we are going to try to bring that about through additional legal process. But wherever he is, His resolve is the same. He believes he's innocent. I believe he's innocent. And we're going to fight this case with all of our might until we don't have to fight any longer.